You had to know that there's something there because it's the animation, the aliveness itself. The stillness stillness is not the absence of noise or the absence of movement. Stillness is something unto itself. It's unique to itself. It's a quality that we give this word to, stillness, that doesn't really do it justice. Because there's such a vitality, there's such a vibrant aliveness there. There's just not separation. Perhaps stillness is better described as the absence of conflict, if it is the absence of anything. It's the absence of separation and conflict. And I don't know if you see in the discussion that we just had, forgive me that it was a monologue because you were listening, but in the discussion that we just had, the core of it is this center of separation. If you can see how many parts of your life are an outflow of that point of separation, a consequence of that vantage point of I and the other, you see how much of your life is that? Filled with noise. Not stillness meaning you're just sitting in a cave in a nice environment like this and not doing anything. Just passing time, contemplating these inner realms. It's an active involvement with life. An active expression of life. Just not a reactive expression of memory, the past. A rehashing of something. A reforming of something. And every time I reform something from the past, I reform the observer. I reform the lens. So the thought part, the part that is action orientated and active and wants to get in there and make changes to things, it can't do anything here. It doesn't know what to do. The moment it starts in reaction to something, it reforms the reactive loop. It reforms the distance, the space between the observer and the observed. Now we've jumped into a very deep thing here because some of the questions that have come up lately have pertained to this. And I don't expect any of you to just go, oh yes, this makes a lot of sense and I totally get it and walk away and everything is just clarified for you. Nor do I want you to listen to this and think that this requires a really serious intellect to look at deeply and absolutely understand. It doesn't require that either. It's something that maybe if we plant the seed of curiosity about this aspect, you might look into it a little deeper. When you do sit quietly, you might just see this thing occurring continuously. And then you might get up from your practice and you might go into your life and you might see this occur very vividly. The constant assessment of everything that's happening around you. The assessment of other people's lives. I don't know if you see, I certainly see that in my mind, that when you look out at other people's lives, sometimes people are close to you, sometimes they're further away. You look at their lives and you think, if they could just do this, things would be so different if they could just do this little thing. If they could just introduce this particular practice, if they could just change their behavior a little bit, if they could just eat differently, if they could just realize their full potential, if they could just commit, if they could just pay a little bit more attention to themselves, if they could just care a bit more about other people, if they could just stop being so violent, if they just spend a little bit of time understanding why they behave the way that they behave, if they could just make an effort to work together to find food and protect themselves, then it would be so much better for them. Do you see that the mind does that? With people near and far, it does that continuously. Well, initially it does that continuously. And then as you start to see it for what it is, that starts to strip away. And you don't see a new center looking at everything saying, I'm the non-judgmental center. This is just ludicrous. But this is what happens, unfortunately. I become the non-judgmental center. I just try to not judge people. I just try to see them for who they are. The trying is a problem because thought is still there, reacting to the previous center that was the judge, now forming a new one and saying, the judge isn't a good center. It's not a good way of being. That way of living, I've got to stop that. I've got to do something else. I've got to create a different image that I can pursue. I've got to find something out there that I can fix, because if I can fix it, then I can have a renewed sense of this image, a renewed sense of self, which is not really a sense at all. It's a renewed idea. The one idea is replaced with another idea, and the conflict ensues. The conflict that is this mind, the violence that is this mind, and the violence is primarily formed out of separation, I and the other, this group and the other groups, this central circle, and everything else. So you begin to see that there isn't anything that you can do as far as thinking is concerned to end this cycle. And therein is born the quality or the experience of hopelessness. Total helplessness. I don't know what to do. I see what you're saying. I can experience it. I see it directly. But I don't know what to do. I feel completely hopeless here. I feel like it will be never ending, or it is never ending. And it's there that there's a door, there's a key. Right at that moment, when the hopelessness comes, just wanting to give up, nowhere to go. The mind has come to an end. The stream of thought that was constantly propelling us has come to an end. And that stream of thought has just been the perpetuation of the past. The aspiration toward the illusory future, but really the perpetuation of the past state of mind that keeps reforming and reforming into the present, looking forward how it can be more going forward. But really not changing at all.